Well, hello, my name is Darren Hardesty. I'm one of the senior advisors at the Anderson office for Financial Enhancement Group. And for the Financial Enhancement Group, we are having our 25th anniversary this year in 2022. And as a part of that, we are going around the community and trying to make sure that we are giving back to organizations who have helped get us to this point along the way. We want to highlight over the next 12 months 12 different organizations in the area and also provide them with a $2,500 gift from Financial Enhancement Group towards their cause. Today, we are joined by Robbie Tompkins. He is the Director of Philanthropy with Second Harvest Food Bank in Muncie, Indiana. It's a great organization. Obviously, if you have not heard of Second Harvest, Robbie is going to be here to give you a whole lot of information about it, different ways that you can provide help and maybe volunteer, or also if you are in need of any help, how to do that as well. So, Robbie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit. And I want to say right off the bat, thank you so much for your support. Thanks to the food bank, we are able to leverage things at a national level with our partners through Feeding America and local resources. So every dollar that we have donated equals 4 meals. So we're talking about 10,000 meals that this is providing to our communities. So again, that's a huge impact, and we appreciate that so much. So I'd like to start by just letting you know a little. Yeah, I'd like to start a little bit letting you know a little bit about Second Harvest and who we are. So we are a food bank, and we cover 8 counties. So we're throughout East Central Indiana. And our 8 counties consist of Delaware, Madison County, and then the surrounding counties around them. And so we've got a pretty good segment of the community here that covers anywhere. It's right around 67,000 folks that are projected to be in food insecurity or resource insecurity need. And that's based on census tracts and Feeding America surveys. So it's a pretty big segment of East Central Indiana that we serve. We're located in Muncie area as our warehouse, but then we have trucks, semi-trailers, 28-foot box trucks, vans going out every day across all of our 8 counties. And so, as you can imagine, we're busy on the road every single day, and we are doing all kinds of different distributions. So the usual distribution that you might see is a tailgate, and that's where we park in a central hub in the county seat. Usually it's a semi or trailer or a box truck. Cars line up, and then we put food right into their trunks. That's all driven by volunteers and our staff members, of course, and drivers getting the food out into the communities. That happens periodically, like about every other week in most counties. And so we've got that happening regularly. And then we do all kinds of partnerships with our local schools. And we have 40 school buildings that we're in across our area. And then we also have a senior safety net. And so that is a senior living center situation where we're going to senior housings, apartment complexes. We're taking things to senior centers. In some cases, they're public and anybody can drive up, or in other cases, we're taking them to residents that live in those facilities. So we've got all sorts of situations happening across our counties. And one of the things that I get asked the most is, of course, how has the pandemic affected this process? As you can imagine, it is night and day difference from pre-pandemic till now. The need really skyrocketed for many reasons, whether it's older adults that needed to stay home and self-isolate, or whether it was being laid off or furloughed or any sort of situation. But we went from doing 9 tailgates in a month to 36 in a month in 2020. It's backed off a little bit, so we're still at 19 a month, though. So when you think about that, we're still more than double the number of tailgates that we would have done pre-pandemic. So the support that's needed for that kind of level of distribution is just unbelievably massive. So.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I'm sure all the safety protocols, everything else that goes into play, and everybody I know during this time has had to find a way to keep things rolling. But it's great. It's really impressive what you guys are able to reach out, how you're able to reach out to the community and help. Food insecurity, it's not something a lot of people think about in America, but I just wonder, with current conditions, I know, inflation rates, we're a financial institution, so we hear a lot about inflation and deal with it a lot. Do you anticipate this to be a major issue moving throughout the year as the price for groceries, things like that, become a little bit more expensive?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is absolutely the projection. Feeding America nationally is an organization that we have 200 food banks across the country. So we're able to keep a pretty close pulse on the trends and what it looks like across the country. So we actually source food from all across the country. So we're getting semi-trailers of meat from Wisconsin. We're getting dairy from New Jersey. So we're getting things from all over the country. And as you can imagine, that supply chain has affected us just as harshly as other industries. We've not been able to get the food that we need to be able to keep the level going. So we rely on donated food also. So like the local Walmart or Nestle centers or Dollar Generals and things like that, Payless and Kroger grocery stores, things like that will donate to us, but that's not able to keep up. So we have to source food and actually purchase it off the market. And we have a system to do that. So that's been hugely impacted. So the ability to find trailers, it's actually kind of a bidding war right now. There's actually kind of like an eBay bidding system where we have to put in a high bid in order to win them. And then we have to pay for the shipping and contract a semi company to bring it here. So there's a lot of other expenses beyond just the actual gas and distribution of food here locally. And then when you think about it from that perspective, like if you go to the grocery store and you see the shelves are empty, well, then that's just obviously things that they're not giving to us because we take their excess or we take the things that are on the verge of being expired. And so in many ways, a food bank is a green organization because we're literally saving food from going into the landfill. And so that food is on its last leg when it gets to us even. And so, oftentimes we have to get produce out the door very quickly. The joke around here is, we get a semi-load and it just literally says produce. That's all we know. And then we open the door and it's like, okay, here we go. We open the door and it's apples. Okay, we're okay. Or we open the door and it's bananas and we're like, oh, get going. We got to get that out the door. It's going to be ruined, So we've got to really keep track of the quality of the food and getting it out in a timely manner. So it absolutely is projected that that's going to continue to be a struggle. Unfortunately, SNAP benefits are going to be going back to their normal rates in mid-April. The extra benefits are expiring. So we anticipate some issues there. It's really an ebb and flow scenario with us because, the stimulus checks, we saw fewer people in lines maybe during that time. But then that obviously comes and goes. Tax season, we see some refunds right now that maybe keep the lines a little lower. But then SNAP benefits going down, well, there you go. That's obviously going to hit us pretty hard in terms of the lines. But the good news is I think that, we've got good support systems, good corporate partners like yourself. And then we've got a lot of individual donors that have really stepped up and helped to support us throughout this time. And the real driving force of our organization is volunteers in the community. And so we actually have volunteers happening all the time. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we've got just a constant need of helping to bag up food that we take out and distribute to schools and senior safety net sites. We need help sorting the food and making sure that any spoilage is set aside and the good stuff goes out. We also need help just in general with helping to pack vans and take things out to local areas that oftentimes are actually a new initiative that has actually just started, in fact, is called Operation Full Pack. And this is a new initiative serving veterans and military families. And so this is where we load up a van and then they come and get it and then they take it and they themselves deliver the food to the veterans. We've not been able to really be able to gain their trust or, they're going to be more trustworthy of a fellow veteran to kind of keep their situation to themselves and because it's an embarrassing situation and a lot of pride gets in the way of that. So they're not the folks that are lining up in our tailgate lines. Yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to get to as many audiences as possible. So that's a great example of reaching an audience that we ourselves have not been able to reach.
Yeah. Well, you kind of led into my next question as far as different programs, different things that are coming up, anything for volunteer opportunities. I know we're recording this in the month of March. Anything coming up in the spring here that you can tell us about?
Yeah. So we've got a couple different things happening. One is we've got right now during the month of March, we actually have a matching opportunity for support. So if anyone's interested in supporting the food bank, there is an opportunity where IU Health Ball Memorial Hospital is matching every gift in the month of March. So we call that Fill a Bowl. So to help us fill the bowls of our community members. And so in order to accomplish that, we are mobilizing a great deal of volunteers, to help with at our tailgates and to help here in the warehouse. And so, like I said, that's something that is online at curehunger.org, our website. And then you can also call in or speak to our volunteer coordinator about group situations as well. We have many workplaces and different sororities, fraternities, even high school students, middle school students that come on field trips. And so there are many opportunities to support and help throughout the time. But coming up next is in May is also Older Americans Month. And so that's actually what we're going to be helping to really enhance our older adult programming and helping those that are the most vulnerable in our community by reaching out to those that are homebound and also with physical disabilities. We're actually going to be doing a lot of home deliveries. And that's a really exciting prospect.
Excellent. I'm a former teacher, and I know some of the schools that I've been at, when the kids go home for summer, there's a lot of concern sometimes that, there are some kids, unfortunately, that don't have those meals that are provided by the school every day. Do you have any summer programs for kids or anything, or is that ever something that you guys try to reach out towards?
Yeah. So we have what's called the Big Idea Network. And so the Big Idea is 40 school buildings. And it's all about helping kids really think about their future and what it would be like so for elementary students, it's, dreaming about what they want to be when they grow up. And when they're middle school and high school students, even it's about maybe even like learning about different careers. And so we bring in guest speakers and we do all sorts of things to help them understand. Like if an EMT came in, they could show up, set out all their equipment and show like, this is what training I had to go through. And this is what I do on a daily basis, or an electrician or, someone that's maybe working in a skilled trade, that kind of thing. Or we bring in a doctor and a nurse talking about medical fields. So that's a program that goes throughout the summer in some of our schools. It just depends on the exact school building. Principals and teachers decide whether they continue it or not. But the good news is that, there are several opportunities depending on the area that you're in our counties. So I encourage anybody that's watching this that has, children in school or knows people that would need help with children to have them to speak to their teachers and their principals, and they'll be able to know, like, are we a Second Harvest school? Are we a Big Idea school? And the nice thing about that program is that it's really all about connecting the teachers and the principals to the students and parents in such a way that it's not just the standard disciplinary discussion. It's not, it's not only homework or classroom related. It's all about the teachers and principals getting to know the families and being able to help them and understand their needs. And then hopefully what this will help do is break that generational cycle of resource insecurity is what we're going for.
Sounds like a great program. So Robbie, I mean, you've given us a lot of great information. Your organization obviously is doing God's work, helping feed people that, who aren't able to. And I commend you for that. More than anything, I want you to kind of give us the best way, if somebody's listening to this, how they can get involved, how they can provide financial help, anything like that. What are the best ways they can go about doing that?
Yeah. And I think, one of the things that is really crucial for our services is really helping people understand that we're here. So first, I always say is just, please help us to share the news. So if you know people at church, or you're friends with someone, or you hear about a story of somebody's on hard times, well, just help them, let them know that we're here and that we are absolutely willing to help them. There's very, very little information that's gathered at a tailgate. We don't ask for IDs. There's no proof of income. There's nothing like that. And so we are very much an accessible organization that's open to all, and regardless of what level of need. And so the good news is that we're here and we're able to help. And not only in that short term. So our tagline is that it's help for today and hope for tomorrow. So in the short term, we provide that help for today, that meal, that trunkload of food tonight that you can use for tonight's dinner, that drive through at the senior line, that kind of thing. But then the hope for tomorrow is really that it's about breaking the cycle. And we want you to get out of that what we call the tyranny of the moment, right? There's anxiousness and there's feelings of insecurity, and they're worried they can't stop and plan, and they're worried about where their next meal's coming from, or they're worried about the next paycheck. And so we want to help in the long term as well. So we ask that people can please help us to spread that word. And then to get involved, absolutely, is to do, like I said before, is to volunteer is a really hands-on way to see it. And especially it's like a tailgate, like to see the lines and to actually like see the smiling faces, sometimes crying faces of folks driving through the line, that are really just so appreciative of what you're putting in their trunk for them, and um, they really show that gratefulness, and that's just a very rewarding experience as a volunteer. We open it up to even 16-year-olds and up as well. So like if we want to bring kids out on spring break and you just want to have a little quality time with your high schooler, that might be another thing. But then we also have some really great engagement opportunities in terms of support. Like I said, so Fill a Bowl this month, everything is doubled. We also have a summer match that's doubled during July and August. And then when you give $1, every dollar stretches to 4 meals. And curehunger.org has all the resources and buttons to do all of those things. And then the good news is that we have a lot of flexibility. So even if you want to do card, we can do ACH, we can do Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal. We've got it really set up to where we can accept any opportunity as well. And then we actually have an app as well. So if people are just curious about what other resources are there in the community, we have an agency network of 75 different groups of soup kitchens and pantries and places that we provide food to. And so there's actually a chronological list of all of our county's resources on an app. So if you just go to the Apple Store or Google Store and look up Second Harvest Food Bank, you'll find us, and it'll be a great way to kind of keep in tune with that, and also to recommend to folks that maybe want to find services.
That's great. Robbie, thank you so much today. You provided a lot of really good information. I hope everybody who's tuned in to watch this today goes out of their way to help out Second Harvest. Again, it's at curehunger.org to find out ways you can give and volunteer, find out more programs that's going on with Second Harvest throughout the year. Robbie, thank you so much. Thank you for what you do and helping the community. Wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for your support.